Hello, welcome back to Metalhead Nation Garage. I'm Chris, your host, and we're going to be talking some metal music here today. A little more than the classic rock we've been talking about the last couple episodes. Quiet Riot released a single from their vault that they unearthed today with Kevin DeBro on lead vocals. It's called I Can't Hold On. I tell you, I was a big fan of theirs back in the day. But I tell you what, this single here that they released today, and go on their YouTube channel and listen to it, it's the best song I think they've ever put out. It's that good. It's different. It's different than the Mama, We're All Crazy Now, and that heavy rock they had back in the day. But I was really surprised by it. It's really good. Music-wise, vocal-wise, it is really good. So be on the lookout for that. And they're going to be on tour in 2023. So, check it out. Rudy Zarzo's back. He's the only original member that's with him. The bass player. He's a fantastic bass player. He's been all over. Ozzy, Whitesnake. He's been all over. But he is heading the group now. And I tell you, this single sounds really good. Going on to some other news is Krokus. Their lead vocal, Mark Storis. He was in the news today. He was just talking about, they was doing their farewell tour, their last tour when COVID hit. And, a lot of people was asking, he was doing the interview, what happened? Are you going to get back out there and do a tour? And, he said no. He said nobody wants to pay for it. So they don't know what happened to the tickets that sold in the U.S., around Europe. He was talking, the war over there with Russia and Ukraine is really hurting all businesses over there, logistic-wise and things. But he says he's not going to go out and pay for it himself to do a farewell tour. But one of back in the 80s, this band was big, I seen them, they opened for Hagar on the VOA tour, but they had some hits going up and down them charts, and they made it real big, and the thing that happened with them, they got off at Hagar tour, and they toured with Def Leppard, and what happened was Leopard's management got with Krokus management and told him, hey, he had to stay on certain sides of the stage. Don't go do this. Don't go do that. But anyways, that all came to a boil, and Storis, he just did what he wanted to do, and at the end of the day, Def Leppard, they kicked him off the tour. So they kind of got a bad rep with not playing by the rules, per se, when you're an opening act, and man, you never heard nothing from him later on. Just very little. But boy, back in the 80s, when they had that Midnight Maniac album, they was coming off. It was really big, and in the previous album, that Headhunter, that album, I really liked it. And but man, they just they came out, roaring, and then they went down in a ball of flames. So old Krokus. So going and moving on to Ozzy, he's in the news today, and he's talking about he wants to get back on tour and do some things, but he said he can't walk, and that was obvious in the previous engagements he did at Wilmington Stadium. They commonplace games, something like that. Him and Tony Iommi did a song together, but it was really strange, and it was at the one of the football games in LA too. They brought him up from the floor, and he sat there, stood there, and he really didn't move, and it was just strange. There might have been some lip syncing going on, possibly. I don't know. Just my opinion, but he didn't move very much at all. And he even states that he says he can't walk now. He is. They did put out there that they're going to, get the tour, try to get the tour going back. His farewell tour 2, or I think they're calling it, in 2023. I think the first dates was in May, but I don't know. I mean, to hear his last interview he did on Sirius XM on his show, there's doubts about it. I mean, he just had surgery on his neck prior to this, 3 months ago, and he had to have it, or the doctor said he was going to be paralyzed from the waist down. So who knows with Ozzy? It's I liked Ozzy back in the day, not so much now. I mean, he did put out some good songs on this new album. It did really well for him. Number one album, number one single. Yeah, and it sounds all right, in the studio. So maybe he continues doing that. Maybe not. I don't know. But I don't know about touring. I would say it's probably not in the works, what I could tell of it now. But he also was talking about his bandmates, Black Sabbath. Back in the day, when he left and Ronnie James Dio came in. Now, what he did have to say is that he never listened to the albums that Ronnie James Dio performed on, and some of the critics out there, me for one, thinks them was some of the best albums that Black Sabbath put out. Probably at the top. Heaven and Hell was a tremendous album, and but Dio, I mean, golly, his vocal range was way better than Ozzy's, but he, and it was different. I mean, they're probably, I guess I would say Hagar was a different singer than Roth, but this is pretty extreme from Dio to Ozzy, and they didn't want it, and Tony Iommi talked at that time. He didn't want, somebody that sounded like Ozzy, just as, I guess Van Halen didn't want anybody sounding like Roth. But it was very interesting to say that he never listened to any of the songs or anything over the years, because they was popular. They was successful with it, and they did climb the charts a little bit. But it was just interesting to hear Ozzy say that, because I think you would want to, just to see how good they was, or what have you, and or he could have been, just drinking as much and really didn't care. He'd do his show, he'd go pass out in the hotel room or what have you. That's possible. Who knows there? But interesting for Ozzy. To come across like that, but in other tours, that's been announced here, another one's been announced, and it's kind of cool. Might be something I probably will go and see. Is Lynyrd Skynyrd and ZZ Top tour coming in 2023? They're co-headlining dates. It sounds interesting to me. I mean, I haven't seen ZZ Top since the mid 80s, so at 85, when they was hot, tearing up the charts there with Sharp Dressed Man and all them singles they put out. But and Lynyrd Skynyrd, I haven't seen them at all, so that would be all right. I mean, I just like that. It's kind of a little different. It's kind of what I grew up with, so I could go see that, even though Lynyrd Skynyrd only has Gary Rossington, as an original member. I like all their tunes. I really like ZZ Top. I like Gibbons. He's a hell of an artist. He's a good singer, songwriter, guitar player. I mean, he's got that blues going. I really like him, man. And Yeah, I think it'd be a good tour. So if you're interested in that, Skynyrd and ZZ Top, that show is coming at you there. So that'd be good. I believe it will. And that's all I have today for this episode. Hey, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you the next time on Metalhead Nation Garage.